Welcome to Season 2 of the SOAR podcast, the place for creative entrepreneurs who want to build healthier, happier, more profitable self-employed businesses. I'm your host, Ray Hyde Cornell, business mentor at Chiron Consulting and CEO and senior copywriter at Cornell Content Marketing. Get ready to soar. All right, welcome to the SOAR podcast. Today we have Michelle Clarke, who is a business coach. And Michelle, I'll let you tell our listeners a little bit more about you and specifically what you specialize in.
Okay. Business coach. Yeah, I'm really not your standard business coach. And it kind of makes me laugh to remember that I am a business coach with an MBA, because really I call myself an energy maverick. And I only work with soul-led entrepreneurs, and I turn up the magic inside them so that they can make more money and have more freedom. You know, all those things that you thought you'd have when you decided to run a business, but it doesn't quite pan out. I teach people how to get that through being magnetic. So yes, I'm a business coach, but I work entirely differently. I take all of the corporate bollocks and I spin it into a way that works for us entrepreneurs, because we hate structure, we detest it, but we need the structures in order to allow the creativity. So I'm kind of unique in that I work in structure and masculine structure and also in feminine creativity. So pretty unique.
I love that. And you are totally speaking my language, because even if you look at the homepage of my website, you'll see that I have a similar sort of diagram where I talk about you have to have the business structure, the business tactics, the savvy, or the know-how. And yet all of that is useless if you don't have the right energetics behind it, if you're not manifesting what you really want. And I love that your thing is magnetism. So tell me and tell our listeners, what is it that you mean by magnetism? Like, what is your philosophy around that?
So you know that like attracts like, right? So money is a frequency. When you're the right frequency, money comes to you more easily. Sure, you've got to take all the aligned actions, but even if you're taking the aligned actions, like when you look at two coaches, let's say two wellness coaches or two writers, and they're doing exactly the same thing, they've got the same qualifications, they almost have the same style, but one makes a load of money and the other one doesn't. It's energetics. It's magnetism. Now, I say the word magnetism because people understand it more than energetics, but it really is energetics, because it's just so difficult to explain energetics. But it's about a frequency, like a radio has a frequency, right? And if you don't turn it onto the right one, you're not going to get the sound. It's the same with our frequency on the inside. If it's not clean and turned to the right point, you're not going to be emitting the right sound and attracting the right things to you. That's the best way I can explain it.
And I love this because it's very scientific in a way. It's for me, when I think of energetics and manifestation, I'm thinking of the science of it. I'm thinking of the brain chemistry, the brain structures, the reticular activating system. I'm thinking of all these things. And yet we tend to think of it as a very woo-woo, foofy, like just, meditate your way to millions of dollars. And that's not really what it is.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. And I love that you said, you have to take the aligned action. So yes, there is action involved. You're not just going to sit there on a pillow and let everything show up at your doorstep. So where do people start? How do they know what their frequency is, and if they are being magnetic or if they're being repellent to what they really want?
Yeah, and so this is one of the things that I talk about in my book. I wrote a book called Woo Woo for Business Women, like taking the piss out of it being called woo woo, because it's really not. But basically what I say in there is you need to clean up your energy. So there are things that tank your business, and you know this on a brain level, but it really also affects your business on a physical level. So if there are negative people in your life, if there are negative influences in your life, if you are telling yourself negative stories, all of this is dampening down your energy. So it's a lot of the coaching that I do is removing those things, helping you to remove those things from your life and install boundaries so they can't get back in, so that you then have the energy and the power to take the aligned actions in your business. Because when you turn out all the external clutter, Uncle Fred said, oh my God, we're about to go into recession. And your husband said, hurry up and make this business make money, or you're going to have to go and get a job. You'd be surprised how often I hear that, right? Because people are doing in business what they think they should be doing instead of what their soul's telling them to do, but they can't hear their soul because they're listening to everyone else. So we turn that out so you can listen to your soul and higher guidance, because that always tells you the way to make money. Now, I don't care if people think it's woo, it works over and over again. I didn't get to over 3 million net worth by, by slogging my way there. I got there through energetics.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is everybody I know who has embraced this, and a lot of the clients I work with, they come to me for business mentoring and they say, I want to make more money in my business. How do I attract the right clients? How do I structure my proposals? How do I price myself? And those things are all well and good. They're important. But if you don't have that energetic quality behind it of knowing what you want, believing that it is inevitable, it's just somewhere on your timeline, and deciding to pull it closer to you on that timeline, then it's just always going to be an arm's length away and you're never going to achieve it.
Yeah. Yes. Deciding is so important. People are like, so what's the first step? It's like deciding.
Yeah.
Always deciding.
I think that's such a common word that we just throw around, like, oh, we got to decide what we want for dinner. Or, have you decided what you want to do this weekend? We use that word all the time. But what does it feel like when you've decided something? And maybe that something is big. It's big in your business. I want to be a millionaire. I want my net worth to be in the millions. What does that feel like? And how is that different from the day-to-day deciding that we do?
Do you know what stops people from having it? They decide that they want to be a millionaire and they're like, oh, it's too big.
Yeah.
But actually, like, having that it's too big feeling about it, you should just go, yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire, which is only easy to do when you have self-worth.
Yeah.
So, but when you go, oh, I've decided that I'm going to have steak for dinner, you're not going, oh, God, I'm going to have steak. Do I have to go out and buy it? Am I going to have blue cheese? Am I going to dive into all the how and the why? Oh my God, is the pan clean, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So just decide, I'm going to be a millionaire. What would be the first step I would need to have? What would be the things I would need to clear out in order to do it? Well, probably need to have an offshore bank account because the country I'm living in is going to tax the heckity-hoo out of it. And I'm going to have to stop servicing my clients one-on-one. Right. Yeah. So then when you just decide and make decisions from the place of the woman who already has $1 million business.
Yes.
Then what are the actions that you're taking? And don't freak out about it. Like, it's not hard to get an offshore bank account. Look into it.
Yeah. And that's the real difference. I think you nailed it, which is you start making decisions and taking actions from the place of the person who already believes, yeah, I am a millionaire. Yeah, the money is not in my account yet. It's on its way. It'll be there. I know it's going to be there because I already decided it's going to happen. When you start taking action from that place and not the past version of you, not the version of you who, maybe had to sling coffee as a barista at Starbucks. I did that. I was there. I know what that feels like compared to where I am now, compared to future me. And you have to know the place from which you're making that decision and taking your actions. Yeah. Wow. Totally. So when we talk about magnetism, what are some of the most common blocks that you've seen prevent people from really tapping into that magnetic energy?
Environment, without a doubt, it's environment. Like, take a look, like if you're listening to this right now, take a look around your office or your lounge or your car or wherever you're sitting. Is that where the queen would sit? Like, is that where the queen of your business or the king of your business would sit? Like, do you have fancy things around you that make you feel good? Or are you like, oh God, there's a stack of papers over there, and oh my God, the couch is so old, it's falling to bits. Like, what is your energy like? What is the energy like in the room? Because it affects the energy inside you. Just like when you go outside and there's a storm, the storm energy affects that. Like, it can actually like change the beat of your heart. Yeah. So like, external environments definitely change our internal environment. So that's one of the biggest things. So actual physical environment. And if it's overwhelming when you look around, then your brain is overwhelmed.
Yep.
Cannot grow a business from an overwhelmed brain. It needs to be empty, pretty much.
Yeah. And that's fantastic that you said that, because that is totally within people's control. And it's an easy thing to start to change. Yeah. Even though all the things that are inside us, our thoughts, our feelings, our memories, our associations, those are also within our control, but they're harder to control than if I'm looking at, my dog has a little couch in my office that's over there under the window. And I'm like, I think I need to get him a new one. It's looking a little bit ratty. And my husband says, oh, he's fine. Like, he's a dog. He doesn't care. I care. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I want to get a nice new clean.
Baby.
Exactly. Exactly. And so when you start to put those little touches, and you don't have to spend tons of money, it's about, how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel like you're living the life that you want? Does it make you feel like a millionaire? If that's what your goal is, then that's what matters. I don't care if you got it for $2 or $2,000.
Exactly. And here's the thing, people think you need to spend a lot of money to feel fancy. You truly do not need to spend a lot of money to feel fancy. Like, oftentimes it's the little things, like, are you going to the supermarket? I can tell you what, I can tell anyone's money mindset by going into their bathroom. How expensive is the toilet paper? Now,
oh, yeah.
You can buy really cheap toilet paper, or you can buy really expensive luxury toilet paper that makes you feel as fancy as a queen every time you go for a wee, which is often because you drink your coffee all day, right? And it costs you what, $1 extra?
Yeah.
So it's about the little things rather than the big things. And honestly, that is the first shift that will really start moving your energy. I know it sounds funny, but yeah, it's the little things. Like, are you drinking out of a chipped China teacup, or are you drinking your coffee like out of a fancy teacup? Because fancy, costs $25. It didn't cost a lot.
And it's something that you'll have with you and have as that reminder of that fancy, higher elevated version of you for as long as you want, until you decide to elevate it further.
Exactly.
Yeah. You mentioned the word shifts, and I think that's an important thing to talk about, because we do go through these shifts along the journey where we hit these walls where we feel like, oh, I'm never going to get to that place. I'm never going to get to that place. Some days we have really great days where we're like, yes, I'm going to be the millionaire. I'm going to sell out all my programs. I'm going to do all the things. And then we wake up one day and we're like, oh, but what if I don't? What if I can't do it? What if it doesn't happen? And we have these shifts in energy. How do you recommend that people cope with those kind of changing states of mind on a day-to-day basis?
You know, that's quite possibly the best question I've ever been asked on a podcast. I've done in excess of 100 podcasts.
Oh, wow.
I love this question. This is so good. I'm having so much fun, by the way. Because I can give so much to your audience. Yeah. Without a doubt, I see that all the time, and people really tank their energy and they let it dip too far before it coming up. Yeah. But then remind me to talk to you about seasons in business,
okay,
and what you do about that as well, because that's really important. But you need to be doing things constantly to keep your energy up. So if you have a look in your calendar, like if you open up your calendar right now and you categorized it into things that light you up and things that are meh, and things that you have to do but you really hate doing, like, it should be a percentage of 75% things that you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to do it.
Yeah.
Now, how many people can actually do that?
Very few. Oh my God. I can probably count on one hand the people I know who do that. Yeah.
Get rid of the clients you don't like. Do a client bus. Literally make a little caboose, make a train. I get my clients to do this, and they've got to write A, B, C, and D. The A client's like, I can't wait to see my client or sell this product, and B is, yeah, it's okay, there's a few little niggles. C is like, you know, these people are okay, but their energy sucks. Like, I feel a bit tired after I'm working with them, although I feel a bit tired when I've worked with the product. And then the last one is just hell no. Well, you just chop the caboose off.
Yeah.
And that allows newer clients to come in, just like with drinking this delicious cup of coffee. So I had a cup of cleansed tea in here that I hate drinking, but I had to drink it before I could get the coffee. It's just a rule I make for myself. I can't pour the coffee on top of the cleansed tea. I need space for it. So get rid of that which is not lighting you up, so that you have space to call it in. But people freak out, like in that, you know, in the free flow, in the energetic free flow where there's a gap and there's nothing. Yeah. People freak out, but just go, it's okay, it's coming.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Get rid of all the things that are actually tanking your energy, and you won't get to that really low point. Stop listening to the news. For the love of God, stop listening to the news.
I stopped paying attention to the news probably in 2020 when COVID hit. And it was not long before I was like, I am just so sick of all the negativity, all the fear, all the everything. And I just cut it off. I didn't even care anymore. And just being in my own little bubble where I can create my own little energetic field has done wonders for me, just thinking more clearly and feeling better. And it makes those days of dip in energy, which are natural. I want to kind of validate that for people who are listening. It's natural. Nobody wakes up every single day of their life thinking, I'm awesome. The world is awesome. I have tons of money coming to me. There are always going to be these little dips, even for the most experienced manifestors and energetic people. So
yeah. And once you've got your energy sorted, those days might be to a year. Honestly, like there are some really solid things that you can do to get there. So this is what I suggest: bookending your day. Like first of all, clean up your life, like we talked energetically. Get rid of all the negativity. Then add the things in that really light you up. Get rid of the clients that don't light you up or the products that don't light you up, and change it around. But then you've got to take it a step further. If you don't want to have those dip days where you're like, oh my God, it's all going to fall to bits, you've got to bookend your day with not positivity, because it's not positivity. You've got to bookend your day with energetics. So write down at nighttime everything that you achieved that told you that you are becoming the business boss, queen or king. And then ask your subconscious mind to help you to figure out your next move in business or whatever you want it to do. So when you wake up, you will already be feeling good. And then when you wake up, do not go on social media until lunchtime. Like just don't let the world in until lunchtime. Like we used to go out and the neighbor would say, oh gosh, Sally's broken her arm. You'd hear one bit of bad news all week, right? Now you wake up, the first thing you do is reach for Facebook and the whole world goes, bleh.
Yep.
So don't let it in until lunchtime. Like yes, you need social media for your business, but you don't need to let it in straight away.
Exactly. That doesn't need to be the first thing. And that is also giving over control of your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your energy. You are handing that over to whatever you're going to absorb. Whereas if you keep those boundaries, you stay in control. You are the only one influencing what's going on in your day to day.
And unfollow your competitors. Do not follow what other people are doing. They are not you.
And it doesn't matter.
Them.
And it doesn't matter what they're doing, because you're going to be doing it in a completely different way. They're going to be speaking to different people. You're going to attract in the right people who are meant for you. So it really does you no good. It doesn't serve you to follow those people who can just make you question or maybe take in the wrong message or
just think about it like this. You're a single woman, you're hunting for a man. I always think about this marketing and stuff. I've been married for like 21 years. I haven't dated a long time. But imagine that you're searching, for the love of your life, and you go to a bar and you see a really hot guy over there and you see a really hot girl hitting on him. Are you going to go and hit on that really hot guy that's already got a really hot girl? Why would you bother? So why do we do that in business? Oh, Sally's doing this program, so I'm going to do the same thing. Why?
Yeah, exactly. Now, before we talk about seasons, because I do want to touch on that, I want to talk about something so you mentioned cutting off the caboose, getting rid of those clients who they just don't light you up. They're just a hell no. And I can just hear some of our listeners thinking, well, how can I do that? I need the revenue. I need the money. I need that client to keep paying me. Even if you don't love the work you're doing with them, some people are still in a place of willing to sacrifice their time, their energy, and even their happiness for that income that's coming in. And as we know, because we've been in this energetic woo-woo world for a long time, as soon as you do that, something bigger and better is coming your way. But that still doesn't nullify that fear that happens in the moment. So what would you tell someone if I were going to tell you right now, I'm thinking about firing a couple clients, but I need the money. I'm not in a place where I can let go of that money. What would you say to me?
That's a choice. Stay stuck then.
Yeah.
And nothing is going to take the fear away. You have to have faith. And if you're not willing to be brave and have faith, you ain't going to get the money.
Yeah.
Money comes to bravery. So it's a choice. You want to stay stuck, bye.
And it's that decision.
It's exactly what I'd say.
It's going back to that decision of you are then, if you're succumbing to your fear, which this isn't to invalidate your fear. The fear is a normal response. When you don't have a safety net, you might have a little fear in your gut as you walk across the tightrope, but you are deciding to stay on this side of it.
Yep. And it is a decision. And, if you decide to make that decision and stay there, like there's nothing actually wrong with it. Like taking big, bold, brave actions get you the big, bold, juicy money, but not everyone's cut out for that. It's perfectly okay if you're the person staying safe, but don't ask for the big rewards and staying safe. It's like investing, right? Like with crypto, it's super risky.
Mm-hmm.
You can also make super amounts of money. If you can make super amounts of money, it's going to be risky.
Yeah.
And if you're risk adverse, don't become an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yes, very well said. It's funny because I just did a how to beat imposter syndrome workshop in February, and we went through the definition of an entrepreneur, which is completely contradictory to the definition of an imposter. And in that definition is someone who is willing to take risk, all on their own in order to build a business venture. And risk and entrepreneur are inherent. They go hand in hand. And doing new things and taking risk and exploring new territory is completely contrary to being an imposter, someone who is trying to defraud and deceive because they know that they can't do the new thing. So they're in complete contrast, but risk and entrepreneurship, those two things always go hand in hand. And yet I would say I would consider my chances of betting on myself far greater than betting on an employer to keep me around and keep that paycheck coming every 2 weeks.
Yeah, me too. It's far safer to be in control of my own money.
Exactly. And so talk to me about this concept of seasons in your business. You mentioned that was something that was coming up for you.
What I see a lot in business, like in the beginning, people need to take big, bold, brave actions. But once they're taking the big, bold, brave actions, some weeks, like when you're used to having a job, the check comes in every week. It's not like that in business. Like yesterday, I closed a $20,000 deal. And then the week before that, I only closed like $3,000. So there's always massive gaps. Some weeks it might be nothing, right? Like it's generally not that anymore because I'm so far down the track of my business. But there can be real gaps. And it is the same for any employer that employs you. They will have gaps, but you're not seeing them.
Right.
Because they're continuing to pay you, but they're there for every single business. Richard Branson has big gaps, right? Like there are always gaps and scrabbling around for money. You just got to learn to lean into it. Now, I liken it to like when I look out my window, I've got the beautiful view of the harbour and like hundreds of acres of farm. Directly in front of me is my orchard, and there's like a beautiful nectarine tree out there. And I say, now at the moment, well, actually, there's no fruit because I've eaten it all. But when there's juicy fruit on there, your business is pumping and it's summer and you're like, yum, 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 all these vibes, and you're getting all the money and you're eating all the fruit and it's really good. And then after summer comes autumn. Or all of the leaves start falling off. So all of a sudden things in our business are not quite working. We're like, no, you can go. And you just automatically fell off because I would make a decision. So it fell off for me. The universe likes to do that. Take action for you if you don't.
Yep.
And then after autumn comes winter. There is nothing on the tree. It is cold. It is stark. I am starving. There is nothing to eat. We need the starkness and the coldness in order for the tree to regroup its energy so it can spring out. Without winter, you get no spring growth. When your business is quiet, lean in. That's the universe giving you an opportunity to rethink your structure. What is the next level version of your business? If you spend that time, that gift of time, panicking about money, you're not getting your hibernation period. You're going to go into spring exhausted, and eventually your business will fall over. If you don't take space in the hibernation period, you won't grow. So then you get into spring and you're like, oh, new ideas and fun. And then summer and you're back to the eating the fruit.
Yeah. And I love that you called it a gift of time because it really is. And if we are, one of the things I see a lot of my freelancers get stuck in is this feast or famine frenzy where they're like, oh, I've got to take this job. I've got to take this gig. I've got to work with this client. This client who I hate came back and they want this project and I have to take it all because I don't know if there's going to be a lull after that, but they never actually get to the lull. They never get to the quiet place where they can regroup and re-energize. Instead, they burn themselves out. They're just going a mile a minute all the time. And so when you actually have that downtime, it's a gift. It's a blessing. It is something that you need. We all need. Nature needs. Animals need. Everyone needs that in order to regroup, recharge, and make sure that the steps that you do take in spring are aligned with what you really want to have fruiting and enjoy in the summer.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how did you get into this? I mean, you were so full of information and knowledge, and how did you get onto this path of being your own independent income generator?
Yeah, I've been psychic since birth, so I'm pretty tapped into higher wisdom. So that helps run my business. I'm not going to lie, being tapped in. We are all tapped in, and we all were as kids, but just some turned it off. Mine just never turned off. You can turn it back on. But yeah, this path, I guess. Well, I mean, I have an MBA. I've got a teaching degree, teaching adults. I've got so many qualifications you wouldn't even believe it. But then I used all of that to be running colleges and always empowering women, right? Like it was always places where I could empower women and empower staff and train the staff. And eventually I got into corporate coaching. And then I realized that the biggest change that I could make, because I'm here to change the world. I'm actually here to raise the vibration of the earth. And I do that by empowering entrepreneurs who have make a difference businesses. So they're also raising the vibration of the earth. Yeah. And I realized that whilst I could affect one or two people in corporate, they were stuck inside a box. And I was like, they are never going to change the world stuck inside a box. Where are the people that are not inside boxes? The people not inside boxes are the entrepreneurs. We get to make our own rules. If you don't like something, then change it. And so you can only do that when you're working for yourself.
So you weren't always an entrepreneur. You were in that kind of corporate world for a little bit. And then you had this epiphany about where you could have the most impact.
Yeah.
And what gave you the strength to make that jump? Because so many people see the corporate world, the traditional employment route, as this safety net when really it's not. But what gave you the courage to make that leap over to working with entrepreneurs on your own?
I've always been that brave. I bought my first business when I was 18 in Australia with staff.
Oh, wow.
So I've always been that brave. And I guess I saw my parents making big, brave purchases and decisions. And so I've just always had the brave button. And I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? Like I have my animals, my health, my delicious husband, my energy. Like what else do I need?
I love that you call your husband delicious. That's fantastic. So I'm hoping as people are listening to this, because it sounds like for you, that bravery came from seeing your parents make these big decisions. And then you just innately, naturally gifted taking these big risks, seeing them pay off. You kind of got trained in that way of thinking very early on. And I'm hoping that our listeners can use your story as an example so that they can see what's possible if they take those big, bold, brave risks.
And we didn't all have parents that were business owners. That's the thing. Yeah. Most of us actually didn't, but you don't need that. All you need to do is be in the vibe of other brave business owners. Don't hang out with people that are scared. It's contagious.
Yeah.
Hang out with people that are brave.
I love that you say that because there are so many Facebook groups that I'm kind of attracted to just by the name. It's like freelancing females and women helping women entrepreneurs and, you know, female freelance writers and things like that, where I just feel like, oh, of course, like my people, my freelance writers, my female entrepreneurs must be in here. But then I go into those groups and there's like this vibe of scarcity and almost kind of like these Upwork, Fiverr, Elance kind of qualities. And it just feels icky. And yet those are the ones that are right in front of our face. They're on Facebook. They're easy to find. So where would you recommend that people go if they do want to surround themselves with that higher vibration?
Into my Facebook group.
Yeah.
I do these really cool things in my Facebook group, which are called Money Vibes Sunday Sessions. And I'm always dumping in free trainings and meditations and workbooks and all sorts of juicy stuff for free. Because honestly, I'm here to raise the vibration. So yeah, I have lots of things for free. I have lots of things that are really expensive. I have some stuff in between, but really I'm just here to raise the vibration. So if you want to hang out with some brave people, find me on Facebook. Just go to Empowerment Empires and you'll be able to find my Facebook group.
And we will put the link to that Facebook group as well as your book in the show notes, as well as where can people find you? Tell us, where can people find you if they want to work with you, learn more about you, or just be in your energy?
The best thing to do is to go to empowermentempires.com and you'll find everything on there, lots of freebies, and you'll find all my links. And yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here, Michelle. I love this conversation. I love anytime we get to talk about all the woo-woo energetic stuff, because it's the key. It's the key that unlocks all the skills that you have, whether you're a natural born writer, designer, photographer, VA, whatever it is. It's the energy piece that unlocks all of that talent to be able to build the life and the business that you really want. So thank you so much for being here.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Hey, Ray here again. Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, please subscribe and rate us in your favorite podcasting platform. Want to be a guest on the show or know someone who has an amazing story of entrepreneurship? Apply on our website at chironconsulting.us/podcast.